Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is another in my series that I call Fast and Beautiful. It is where we let the designer series paper do most of the heavy lifting for us. This card is a little bit unique in that it opens from the top, and this is the card, this is the base, and it opens this way, and there's a small panel to put a sentiment here in the middle. And mine is a thank you card, and then on the inside it says grateful for a friend like you. And actually very simple, very fast. Let me tell you the pieces that you need to make this card. I used a base of Saffron, and this measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it's virtually a quarter of an A2 page. Then I have this piece of designer series paper that is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, so that I get just a tiny border around the edge of that. Then I have a piece here that is 5 7/8. Yep, and maybe just a tidge past 5 7/8 because you have to allow for this fold. And I have scored this at 1/2 inch on one side, and this one is 3.5 inches wide. Then I have one more piece of yellow that is 2.5 by 4, and then this piece that is 3 1/4 by 4 in the designer series paper. Then I have a piece that's 1 inch by 3 1/4 for our sentiment, and then I have some of this pretty organza ribbon. So it's a white organza ribbon. Whisper white. Yeah, Whisper white organza ribbon. So that's all it takes to make this, and once you have your pieces cut, you're practically at assembly. So let me show you how to construct this card. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to adhere these two pieces together. Now, I'm just going to use snail, but I'm going to put it both on this little 1/2 inch strip that I scored, and I'm going to put it on this piece of card here on the back. And so that double adhesive will make this very, very strong. And what I'm going to do is just eyeball this to get it in the center of the panel, and to make sure that my pieces are flush. I can see that they are here. I can test that by putting them square and then folding this piece over the top, and there we go. I've got my piece all ready to go. Now I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to be burnishing this several times so that this piece lays flat. All right, then once that piece is on, then we are at adding this piece to the actual base of the card, and this is intended to have about an eighth of an inch trim around the edge here. So I'm going to add actually quite a bit of glue, because this is what's holding my card together. So I'm going to set this, and I think that's just about right. Okay, and then I'm going to burnish this again and make that nice and flat. Okay, so the next piece we're going to add is this piece here to the top front face of our card, with a similar border all the way around the 3 sides. And again, I'm just laying this flat, and I'm using some regular snail adhesive here, and I'm going to set this down so I've got an equal border on the 3 sides that we can see here. Very simple. Then I have my piece of ribbon, and I cut this piece of ribbon, it's probably about 17.5, 18 inches in total. And that's because I want this ribbon to go around the whole thing so that you can see it from the inside when you open the card. And I'm going to put this ribbon so that it's right along this edge. And until we secure it down, all I need to do is, and I'm going to tie my bow over to the right-hand side here. And I can adjust my ribbon placement once I get my bow tied here. So I am just going to see if I can't get this bow made. Okay, so I think my ribbon is, I wanted it to be kind of not turned on either side. Now it's almost impossible to get it exactly right, but as close as I can get it. And then make my bow here. And I cut maybe a bit more ribbon than I needed, but I wanted to make sure I could make a successful bow on the front of this piece. And there we go. I've got my, essentially my bow made. Then I'll tighten it down and make it quite a bit smaller here. And adjust the placement of it. I want it just down right along the edge of this piece of pattern paper. Now, I'm going to move that bow just a tiny bit further over to the right here, so it's right on the right edge. Now I'm going to trim down my tails here. So trim off the tails of my ribbon. Now, what I'm going to do to secure this, because I don't want this moving around, is I'm going to use some glue dots here to secure this bow in place. Now what I'm going to do is add a glue dot right underneath the knot of this bow and hold it in place. Then I'm going to take another glue dot and I'm going to secure it underneath this so that it is attached to the paper and the bow. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And the objective is to make sure that the ribbon is attached both to the paper and to the ribbon so that that knot, I'm positive, is not going to move any place. And that will hold that in place both in the front and the back, because you can't really put any glue on this on the back side because it's so visible. So there we go. I've got my bow made there. Now the stamping that I'm going to do, I have my two sentiments here. I have my thank you, and these sentiments are from two different stamp sets. The thank you, I liked that one because it was nice and long and looked like the right scale for this card. And then on the inside, for grateful for a friend like you. So the thank you comes from Background Bits, which is a hostess set. And then the grateful for a friend like you comes from bunches, a bunch of blossoms. And it's right here. One is a red rubber stamp and the other is a photopolymer. So let me do my photopolymer first here. And I have my Memento ink here. And I'm going to ink up my Grateful for a Friend Like You. And I didn't want to mess with straight. So I just put it off to the side here on this little panel in that corner. Nice image. And then I have my red rubber stamp here that is thank you. And I'm going to get some ink on that and set this here on my grid paper. I think that's going to be straight. And then put my stamp in place here. There we go. All right, so that's the stamping done, so I can put my ink away. And we're at the balance of assembly here. So this piece is going to fit inside here and be centered here, so we get the advantage of seeing all of this beautiful designer series paper around this, and it makes the decoration for the inside of the card. So again, I'm just going to use snail here, and I'm going to eyeball this to get it centered on this piece of card. There we go. And then this last one, and I'm not going to erase this on dimensionals. You certainly could if you chose to. I'm going to also just use snail because the whole point of this card was to be fast. And so we're going to just add snail here and put this in place. And I'm going to slide this under my ribbon tails here. And I'm going to see if I can't center that on this bottom little panel here. There we go. And there we have our card. Now, I did add some decorations here to the card by way of some of these enamel, glitter enamel dots. And I've got a sheet of these glitter enamel dots here with a dimensional attached to the back. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is take some of these glitter enamel dots just to add a little bit more sparkle to the card. And I'm going to take these lighter yellow ones, and I'm going to put one here on this corner of my card, and then just working across on the next size down, I'm going to put another one right down here, because there isn't a whole lot of yellow there, and maybe take the smallest one and add it right up here at the top. Then on the inside of the card, what I used was a similar kind of thing where I took the largest glimmer dot and put it here, and then just worked my way down 3 of the dots here in succession by size. Oops, that got that one just got in the way there. So now I have this one, and darn it, it tore my paper, so let's see if I can fix that by using the dot here. And maybe what I'll do is put this last one down. I'm probably going to have to put a glue dot on that now. And put my glue dot right down here, and then put my glitter dot right over the top of it. There we go. And so I've now got those kind of going up at an angle because I had to cover my little paper tear there. So there we go. That is the entire project. Very fast, but I think just lovely impact. And so here we have our cards. And I want to thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. This is all obtainable at least while supplies last through the end of May, because the designer series paper so sadly will retire at the end of May. And you know, I've used this paper over and over and over again this season, and I just love it. And so it's still obtainable at www.lbedinger.stampinup.net, and that's my website. And you hit the Shop Now button, and you're off and running. And so again, this is all while supplies last. But I thought this was such a cheery, spring-looking card, and I'm so ready for spring, that I thought I would do this one, another of the Fast and Beautiful. Now, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. Joining right after a quarter end gives you a nice long runway to make your first minimum, and it's always a good time to join Stampin' Up! The prize draw for the month of April is an embossing package that includes a Versamark pad, a re-inker, an embossing buddy, and the five embossing colors that we have now: gold, silver, copper, clear, and white. And all you have to do to be in the drawing is make an order on my site, and orders over $25 get a product gift from me as well, and everybody gets a reusable card. So thanks again for stopping by, and I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye.